Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Old School Series. I'm your host, the Rental Man Buck. Currently, we have only Kevin at the farm, and he is working on the baler because, as you guys possibly saw in the thumbnail, we may or may not be investing in a newer baler, if that's what you depicted the picture was. The other thing I'm working on is a trade deal with my neighbor, being the lawnmowers. I have one of those 72-inch zero turns, and I currently got that on the trailer with the 7.3 right now. We're going to be swapping that for his 445 riding John Deere lawn tractor that also has a lawnmower deck and a 3-point attachments. Right now, it's got the bagger kit on it, but we do have the ability to put a 3-point on the back and possibly use it to help with our garden that we still haven't done, making the plan of attack very simple. We're going to stop by the neighbors, get the lawnmowers situation figured out. While we're doing that and the yard is getting mowed, Kevin is going to buy my square baler from me for the exact same price I'm going to go buy my neighbor's baler from, and the rest is on God's good humor. So let's get ourselves to work and get the video started and underway. I really am going to miss this zero turn. It was actually a really good mower. Never really had any problems with it other than maybe a couple belts rubbing a little bit too fast. But my neighbor needed something to cut a bit more grass than I did, so I told him I'd trade him my lawnmower plus about $400 cash. I'll load this up on the trailer, get him that money, and then we're going to make our way back to the house and start mowing. If you guys like content like this and would love to see more, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe down below. We are on the race to 100,000 public subscribers by the end of this year. If you guys do notice any difference in the mic quality, I finally pulled the trigger. I'm done. I'm sick and tired of trying to go around and do dumb things with my audio. I invested in that sacred Blue Yeti. If you guys know what the Blue Yeti is, I highly recommend checking it out. I think I finally got my system the way I want it. I got wireless headphones, but a wired mic. Hopefully that makes our audio quality from here on out all the more better, since we're not going to be changing it anytime soon. But I cannot believe how bad I have let my yard go. I hate it. Oh, look at all the weeds, all the flowers. My backyard is completely torn up. Probably going to have to reseed that. Kevin hopefully is going to be wrapping up and be out on his way in a little bit. But until then, let's get the mower off the trailer, take the bagger system off, and I'm just going to shred this. I'm not going to bag it because I'll be here till next Thursday if I'm going to try and bag this. I want you guys to hit the comments, though. What's your favorite kind of lawnmower? Are you guys more of a riding tractor person, a walk-behind person, or a zero-turn person? I have a 2003 John Deere GS45 that my dad actually bought back brand new in 2003. I do my best that I can to maintain that thing by sharpening the blades, giving it a nice big bath, but I do scrape underneath the deck every time I mow. Because even though I haven't gotten to clean it with the world's greatest farm soap, being Andy Clean, be sure to check him out, I do still find it very important to make sure that you keep your stuff as nice as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but, you know, take care of your stuff while you have it. You only get really one chance with it. I know people make fun of me for why does Buck like to keep his grass so nice? Like, it really is just like my version of meditation. Got Bambi in the yard. I repeat, Bambi is in the yard. This is a 60-inch deck compared to the 72 that I had on the zero turn. So yes, I'm losing out on my work width, but I also gain all of the tractor uses that we can actually have for this little lawnmower. I will be able to use it to help make and create, maintain, and grow my garden. But I do lose in the maneuverability factor where I'm not able to, you know, turn as tight as I used to. You win some, you lose some. That's how it all works. I'm going to get some music on for you guys while I get the rest of this yard mowed out. Until then, we'll see you all in just a couple minutes.
I saw your mama just the other day. She looked glad to see me again. Do you remember when I used to come over to your house every day? Still remember the smell of your car when you drove me down to that lake. Felt so good staying up all night. That will forever be our place. And I know it's been a long time since we were together. There's a special place in my heart that's yours forever. If I could fly right back to where I belong, fly right back to my home sweet home. If I could, I'd take it all back.
Now that it doesn't look like I live in a pigsty, let's jump over to Kevin and see how he's doing on the baler. On a quick side note though, we did not get rid of the Camaro that we found in the ditch. We just moved it to my main garage because we finally got all the mechanical stuff on this motor and the car done. It is mechanically sound, the motor's dialed in. All we have left to really do is the paint work, and I just don't have the money to do that. We've already had the interior clean. It fires like a top and it runs like a dream. Purrs like a kitten. So when the time comes and we get a bit more money than we have right now, we'll definitely be looking into getting that car painted and possibly sold off. I don't have a use for it. All I know is that the car can bring some good money if we do not really a resto mod, but you know, just get it to be nice. Not looking to throw a big LS in it or put a massive set of 20-inch wheels on it. You know, just make it look nice. It looks as though... not sure where Kevin's actually at. Kevin! Hey, you done with the baler? I gotta borrow the hitch that's on your truck because I don't have my other one. I think Daryl still has it. Yeah, I can get it moved out. It appears Kevin is done. He's going to be heading out with the baler to his place. What we're going to do is my neighbor is asking $8,500 for the 1994 535 John Deere baler. Looks kind of like that. Because I want to move into the round bale market, it's a little bit easier for me to maintenance and manage my equipment with the ground. And plus it's a cheap baler anyway. And the trade-off we're going to do for that is Kevin's going to pay me that same amount for this baler since it's still in really good condition. And then I will go and take that money and, like a wash, just go and pick up the baler down at the neighbor's. Kevin, did you leave the check on the toolbox or where's it at? Thanks, bud. Have fun now. I just have to put my trailer back next to the bus and then I can grab the baler hitch, which I might have another one. I'll sift through my box. If I don't have one, then we might run over and steal it off of Kevin's truck. Otherwise, I'll just deal with it. If you guys are thinking about getting into the sim wheel market, I highly recommend you guys check out Moza Racing. They're a proud sponsor of my channel. We actually just won last night on iRacing over at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Really proud to be working with those guys. I currently run the truck simulator steering wheel with the 3-pedal setup and the 7-speed manual shifter, along with the R9 V2 drive hub. There are some links down in the description down below if you guys would like to check those out. I have to head in, though, start talking to the owner, get this check from Kevin, which I think should cash, but literally as the time, I'm not even going to mess with my funds, because by the time the money goes in, it's going to go right back out. I'll get hooked up to the baler and be on my way back to the farm. I need to make one quick run to Tractor Supply, though, because they do have one of those 3-point mounted single plows that I can get for that 445, and with that, we can actually start working on tilling up the garden.
Later.
That was probably one of the smoothest jobs I've ever done. Kevin is still not back, but at least Daryl is now here. We're going to do a little bit of fine-tuning to this baler to make sure it is set to go once our hay is dried, but I'm going to have Daryl help me out with getting the mower put on. I can't tell if I want to put it on the Ford or the 850. I might put it on the 850. And then we'll put the baler on the International 1206 once we get the baler fine-tuned. So this mower will go on this tractor, and we'll start cutting grass with the 1365. Come on, Johnny. Good old Johnny Putt-Putt. I don't really know if we can classify the Massey Ferguson sprayer as an actually enclosed cab tractor because the backside of it just sits open. I mean, it's got a cover, but doors, but I think the International is literally our only fully cabbed tractor on this farm. But besides the sprayer, this is our only tractor that actually has power to all 4 wheels. That's looking good to me. I'm going to get started cutting some grass in this field, and once I kind of get it to where it can maybe just go back and forth on a few passes, I'm going to throw Daryl in the 850 so I can start working on the garden.
12 seconds later.
That is interesting. If we run it with the conditioner on, it will not drop the swath, but if we don't run it with the conditioner, it drops grass and then leaves a massive pile because of the stuff that was already cut. Doesn't really matter. Still got to mow the grass anyway. We'll just roll with it. If I end up having to go and buy myself one of those tender things again, it's not going to be the end of the world. They're pretty cheap. It also doesn't look like, according to my F1 menu, that I'm going to be able to hire a worker, because all it says is hire AI worker, and that's not a, it's not a worker. So maybe we will have to do our own work. Dang it. So if I'm not able to have that thing drop straight hay like I thought it was going to, I'm going to work on getting that garden made, and it might actually work to just make the garden right here since it's already been torn up once, and then I could just maybe relocate the trailer and sell off the bus for scrap iron. But that way Daryl has some time to look through the baler a little bit more thoroughly and make sure everything's tightened and greased, so when the baler hits the field, we know we're not going to have any problems. Now let's head over to the shop and get the 3-point mount put back on and get the little plow blade that I picked up from Tractor Supply installed. With all of our components now fully attached, I did also throw on 200-pound weights to the front of the tractor's frame just to give it that little bit of extra oomph to get it through the soil. This plow's not that heavy, but better be safe than sorry. The weights came with the tractor anyway. Let's drop our blade, get this garden nice and tilled up. Might actually be fun as if I planted potatoes here. Get myself a tiny little potato harvester because, you know, it would still probably take about the same amount of time to harvest one of my fields of corn as it would be to harvest this field of potatoes. I need you guys to hit the comments again. What is one field of agriculture that does interest you, what it takes to do it? One of them has always been potatoes for me. I have never understood how a machine that is that large, like the harvesters, how a machine that is that large and costs that much money and the innovations that we have had only can cut a path as wide as about a 6-row corn head. I get that potatoes are a really thick crop, but it just seems so absurd that you can't harvest it at a wider, like just a bigger stage like you almost can with sugar beets. That's not my problem though. This is making some really nice dirt though. We are turning over some really nice black dirt. Come to think of it, we might actually make the garden a little bit longer because if we're going to be planting some potatoes, it might at least make sense to get the garden to be something that we could actually harvest or make it worth getting something that'll harvest it. And with it going basically the length of the entire back of my shed, I think that is going to be perfect. We'll have just enough sun coverage so it gets all of its exposure during the middle of the day. It's got a perfect line for rain, and I'll get to actually try out my tiller that I bought. I can't remember if this was back in the fall or if it was closer to winter. If you guys remember this old Lizard tiller, I hadn't had it run. This thing wasn't really able to run. Well, we've gotten it all tuned up as well as cleaned up, and I mean, this thing is a monster. This thing will do the work. So I'm ready to get this thing into the garden, get this nice and tilled off so that way all these big clumps can go away, and then we can get ourselves to seed bed and start hopefully seeding, making this look nice. Look at how even that sits. That is gorgeous. Usually when you go tilling, you're trying to get the soil ripped up. Well, I'm just trying to break up all the clumps. That's really what I'm trying to do with this monster. And cultivating this is going to make it real simple when it comes to the end of the season. I'm just so glad that I finally got to actually use this thing. Like, I've been waiting a long time to use this tiller mod for something. Put this thing back into the shed, and then I want to look into some possible outlets of the potato harvesting idea. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that, but I need to do a little bit of research. So I'm going to take care of that, and then we'll be back over to mowing and getting ready to get the hay work underway. After doing a little bit of research, guys, I did find what I kind of want to look towards. If we head into potato technology, there are two pieces of equipment that I'm going to need. One is the potato harvester, which just picks the potato up out of the ground and throws it off to the side, and this 2-row planter. That'll cost me $2,300 between the pair, but I'm also going to need to get this box. That way I can start filling up with potatoes once I get stuff. And lastly, I'll need to invest in one of these fertilizer spreaders because I don't have one that's small enough to really fit the garden. Yes, I could just grab the fertilizer spreader from the yard, but it doesn't really make sense. So once we sell some hay bales, I'm going to get all 3 of these things and get them onto the farm. I already have one of the pump spreaders for the Roundup, so I'm not going to have to worry about that part. But I'm going to run back over to the mower. We'll get some time-lapse music going again, and we're just going to be mowing some grass. So we'll see you guys here in just a bit.
Man, I always had stories about the city life and the crazy nights. Figure I should probably give it a try. Maybe check it out, see what it's all about. But the traffic was fast and the money was slow. The people I met you never get to know. I kinda miss this place I used to live back home. 'Cause up here it's breakneck, paycheck, rat race, what's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. My friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep your 9 to 5. Happy with the simple life.
I interrupt this broadcast with some breaking news. For one, we're going to be mowing it to north-south this time. Last time I cut this east-west, and I want to see if it'll help. The yield is dropping off, and I guarantee you that's because I didn't get in here, I didn't spread any lime, I didn't do any rolling, I did nothing to actually make the yield of this grass do any better. Don't mind me taking out my own fence post. But I truly did not help myself out on that. That's my bad. I am, however, going to be looking for a tenders to dry the grass because I can't use the conditioner on this mower for some odd reason. If my knowledge serves me correct, there's a tiny little H&H that might actually be able to be pulled by the lawnmower with the 3-point. Then I can run the rake on my Ford tractor and keep this ball rolling so the International still is on schedule to be pulling the baler. But that'll just come in time, and we'll figure that boat out once we get there.
A few moments later.
Come to think of it, though, let me actually pop on Tractor House and see if there's anybody who maybe even within a closer area might have one. I know what I'm looking for. It's like a 7-foot wide hay tender from H&S. But let me check Auction House quick. I'll see what I can find. Tractor House or Auction House, whichever one. Not looking for any of these, and those are too old. Where are these things at? Anything? Maybe. Bingo. I think we'll look at this one. Daryl, you want to make a road trip? I can do $2,500. We'll send Daryl up there and see if we can pick that thing up for $2,500. I'll just send him with a check. Because if we can do that, I'll also get the Ford out and start raking. Then by the time we're done mowing and raking, we could probably have that tender back out so it'll dry out the grass and then we could bale it quick. The plan might be crazy, but I think it just might work. I'll call up Daryl and see if we can get him on the road so that way we can have that in our favor. Corey's out of town for the week, so we won't be able to have him out, but I think Kevin's going to be on his way back. I'm going to see if he can grab that Vermeer rake on the back of the Ford tractor, and he can start raking behind me. We're going to get the mowing knocked out, though, and then we'll see you guys maybe back when we get the tender. I don't know exactly where we're going with this yet, but it's coming along. We just got to get the process underway.
6.5 hours later.
I'll tell you what, it's been a hot minute, guys, but we're checking back in. I'm just on my way out. I got all of this stuff raked for its first round. Daryl probably won't be back for another 2.5 hours or so, meaning I'm going to get the mower and the 850 cleaned up, and hopefully by that time, Daryl should be back with the tender, and then we could start running through with that 445 and getting that stuff dried so we can rake it again and get the International hooked up and start baling. Welcome back, everybody. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and it sucks because I know this thing works. I don't know if it's something with the map. I had to drop another. I had to take this into I had to take the old H&S into a Vermeer dealer, and I ended up swapping it out for one of these. And now we're down to $2,000. So I'm doing my best. We're gonna dry out all this stuff to get ourselves back to hay, and then we'll rake this up into its pretty rows again. Then it's off to making bales. I don't know what to tell you at this point. I'll just keep on clicking away the best I can. We'll see if we can sell a few bales to make some of our money back. Because this is going to be a rough hay season with the way we're going. With the re-raking process just about finished up, I don't think I have really anything else to work on besides, getting the baler hooked up and out in the field. I'm going to jump over to that so we can at least get a couple bales rolling. I would think this field's going to get me at least 10 big round bales. I don't know, though. I know it gave me quite a bit of square bales. I just need to get some of my money back that I've invested into this whole thing. Otherwise, if I only get $2,000 out of selling all the bales that I get out of just this field, we are going to be in some financial trouble. It is what it is, but let's jump over to the baler and see what we can do and maybe make some of our money back. We still have a little bit of that wet grass that's sitting inside the baler. I'm not too worried about that. It should just kick on to hay once we get rolling. But let's just see how many bales we can get out of this, because if I can get at least 10, I think I'm going to be sitting pretty. And to note, these are also big round bales. Usually the game only allows you to have a 180 centimeter bale. These are apparently 183s. So this is slightly larger than the regulars. Oh, it's like the actual size hay bale. Like it's the actual hay bale. That's awesome. Jumping ahead a wee bit, considering that we're only on our first long pass and we've already had 6 bales, that makes me feel a little bit better about myself. Let's back it up. Dang it, I forgot. I pressed that button. Get her unloaded and keep on rolling, baby. Rolling. What? Keep rolling. Sorry, I had a... It's a fun song. Here, look up the song Rollin'. It's kind of fun. There's one thing I definitely like about this baler compared to what I know is the 435, the one series smaller than this. This one has a significantly wider pickup area, so I am not missing nearly as much. Definitely a good choice to go with. I'm going to wrap things up, guys. I will finish out doing the rest of the bales in this field. Maybe load up at least 2 or 3 of them and just see what that gives me for money. If it ends up giving me a decent little piece of chunk change, then we are definitely going to load the trailer and sell them all off. But we'll get to that part once we get there. Other than that, we'll see you guys when we check back in. With all those bales now finally wrapped up, we ended up getting 17 of them. I don't have actual, bale spikes, so we're just going to try and use the pallet forks on my New Holland. It feels good to finally actually have a purpose for this thing again. I didn't really have a purpose for this thing for a while, and now during hay season, would you looky there, we got a use for it. Depending on how this works out, we might need to work in on getting a new skid steer at some point, but this thing's been a trooper on the farm ever since day one. I got weights on the back, I have no need for a new one. As mentioned, though, I'm just going to load up a few of these bales and take them into market and see what I can get for them, since they also are some larger ones. Maybe that gets me a little bit, more profit right off the bat. I think we'll take in 4, because that's what can fit on my gooseneck. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 sideways instead of stacking them and making a whole trailer. One thing that I really do enjoy is loading bales in first person. While I always don't, do it correctly, it is a really good skill. Because then when you go to do stuff in the real world, this is where the simulation aspect of it really does transfer into the real life realm. Yes, it's a completely different feeling when you have a 1,000-pound hay bale standing above you, but it gets the general concept across where you now know weight distribution, speed, trajectory, and just the skill. For stuff like this, though, I'm just gonna boop. And that, just so I can put one last one on the end. These are some really good looking round bales, though. Like, I honestly love the texturing on these wraps. It just looks, this is what when I picture a hay bale, this is the kind of hay bale I'm picturing. Now, don't get me wrong, farm sim hay bales, they're okay. But when I think of a big old American hay bale, this is what I picture. Now that that's loaded up, let's head into town. 7.3 might be slightly gutless, but it's gonna get the job done. And the moment of truth has arrived. How much money will we get for our hay bales? I gotta back it up over to the corner. Forgot about that. I bet you I get between $3,000 and $6,000. If I could pull at least 4, I'll not cry as hard. Yep, I'm gonna cry. After all that, we had 4 bales go for $2,400. Now, I got 17 of them things, so that's still a decent little bit of money. We got a lot of work ahead of us, though. Good thing we got some hay ground to cut. But I think that is going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Old School series. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to possibly go down below and smash that like button. Maybe even subscribe. I'm going to head back to the farm, get loading up some more bales, and also get the mower ready, plus the tedder to go make some more of them. Until then, though, guys, be sure to check out the Boomstick Club for all the up-to-date content from me and the gang. You already know who is in it. I will see you all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out.